He thought he was finally home, his wife's car in the driveway, his kid's height mark still on the wall. 2 weeks later, he was watching a black hole eat the sky above his own house. If parts 1 through 3 had you hooked, this is where the story stops being about one man's survival. Subscribe now, because this is the part that breaks everything. He came home on August 11th, a month gone, though it felt like years. His wife knew there was more to the story than got lost, but gave him time with the kids before pressing for details. When he tried to explain it, she suggested a psychologist instead. Reasonable given what he was describing. An officer was supposed to come by to formally close the missing persons report. He never showed. When his wife called to ask why, the department insisted someone had already gone, that nobody answered the door. Then the phone lines went busy, and stayed busy. 2 days later, everything fell apart at once. His truck, the one he'd left back at the original tunnel entrance, had somehow developed a dead battery, flat tires, no oil, a rotted belt all overnight. Then the phone died completely, then the electricity, then the water. The house itself began to deteriorate before their eyes, until they were standing in a rundown shack in a dead forest clearing, sky turning black above them. His wife didn't believe any of it until Saturday night, when Olivia O'Neill's broadcast played through every television in the house, live, in the flesh, on their own screen. That was the moment her disbelief broke completely. They packed for 2 weeks, calculating how much weight a 6-year-old could carry, planning to leave the next morning. They didn't make it to nightfall. A gust of wind shook the windows. His wife's scream was unlike anything he'd heard from her before. Outside, a hole in the sky itself, pure black, absorbing light, growing, feeding on tendrils of cloud. They ran on foot, carrying the kids through wind that felt like a hurricane and debris that cut like razors. At the end of their driveway, the road no longer stretched into the distance. It simply ended, into the tunnels, exactly where he'd first fled from weeks earlier. He led his family left, purely because it seemed closer. One last look back showed their house's roof being torn apart by the vortex before the tunnel sealed shut behind them, cutting off all sound at once. He taught his wife and children everything Doug had taught him, spotting doorways by their straight lines, avoiding black slime and the smell of rot. But there's no substitute for experience, and it came fast. At the hub, on their first supply run, a man's arm shot out from an aisle and snatched his 6-year-old daughter. Her hand tore from his grip. He chased, gained ground, got a fistful of the man's shirt for one fraction of a second, and lost it. 2 teenagers collided with the kidnapper from the opposite direction, giving his daughter the split-second opening she needed to slip free. In the chaos, the man threw his fist into the young boy's face, then slammed his head into the ground hard enough to still him completely. He didn't stay to help. He scooped up his daughter and ran. They found sanctuary briefly in a strange outdoor room. A forest under real sky, mushrooms taller than houses, unnaturally silent. All 4 of them collapsed there, poisoned by spores released the moment they entered. They woke in a small cabin, watched over by a woman who introduced herself only as Delelphi. She was, by her own description, a witch, and this forest was her home, protected by mushrooms that acted like guard dogs. She wanted them gone immediately. When he pushed back, arguing that humans should band together rather than abandon each other, she was unmoved, and casually informed him the demon that had been hunting them through the tunnels was already dead. Her mushrooms had taken care of it. She also told him something that made him feel like the dumbest man alive. They could have simply hidden near a station while the cleaners finished their rounds, then slipped back inside once the coast was clear. He'd never once considered going backward. Desperate, his wife offered the one thing she had left to trade, her own soul. He sat there and let it happen. Watched the woman he loved walk downstairs with a witch to make a deal that would save their children, and did nothing to stop her. When she came back up, she wouldn't meet his eyes. She smiled for the kids. He knew the smile was fake. They left through a mushroom door back into the tunnels, and that night, once the children were asleep, his wife pulled out a piece of parchment, not paper. Something closer to leather, blank until she touched it. Lines began forming. A map. Whatever magic she'd traded for had given her this, and only her. Anyone else who tried to read it would see nothing. Stations glowed yellow, the hub bright green, and scattered rarely across the map, blood-red honey traps. Places with a thinner connection to the real world where clocks worked and the internet sometimes did. They were in one that night. A library. And for the first time since this began, He had real information, and a real problem he hadn't told her about yet. They had no vehicle, which meant they could never actually leave a station without becoming stranded all over again, which meant without a car they were locked into an endless loop, station tunnel with no way out at all. He didn't know how to tell her that yet. Some sacrifices only reveal their true cost long after they've already been made, and by then, there's no version of undoing them, only living with what's left.